Thanks for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got a dropshipping e-commerce site in the health and supplements niche making $4.6 thousand per month in net profit. The listing number on this one is 40190. Now, we do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the sites they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller here, John, with us today to go through the site and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Thanks for coming on, John. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Justin. Always a pleasure.
You are back, buddy. So let's do a quick rundown of the site, give some people some information about, what they're looking at. The site was built in February 2013. The monthly revenue on this is $5,600 a month. Expenses, we're looking at just over $1,000 a month and about $4,600 a month in net profit. And it's getting about 2,000 page views per month. In terms of the expenses, that covers hosting. It covers the bottle cost, which is $4.5 per bottle, plus the shipping, which is handled by a fulfillment company. And then there has been in the past, there's been a email response VA. If the owner wants to take that over, they could make that additional money. There are no PBNs used on the site. That includes an additional domain that includes referral traffic, and it's built on the UltraCart platform. Does that pretty much wrap up the site, man?
Yeah, it does.
Cool.
Sure.
All right. Well, let's do a little bit of an introduction about you and kind of your history and building out sites, scaling sites, that kind of thing.
I've been in the internet game, I guess, for some time now, and I think you know probably best, or at least your listeners, there's infinite opportunities, so you just have to kind of focus on one, and most people tend to follow the revenue. So, that's what led me to do this.
Now, I know a bunch of other people in the, health supplement, specifically weight loss supplement game, and they're just absolutely crushing it. Was that the reason for you to get in? Were you chasing the money? Did you have some particular interest in the niche?
No, actually. So it was a series of events that led to it to happen. So basically what happened was, as you know, I'm big in gaming, and what ended up happening was I was in a chat room, and I ended up going to a conference because of this chat room. I went to some party, and I met some people there, and at the time I was really good at SEO. And when I was back in my house, one of the guys that I met at the conference said, hey, we've got an in with something that might make a lot of money. He's like, why don't you try to throw up a site and see if you can rank it? So I did. And at the time, that was green coffee bean extract. And ranked number 2 for that the day after Dr. Oz talked about it. So what ended up happening is that kind of catapulted me into the weight loss niche, because I was able to rank a site never having done anything in this niche. And suddenly I was making, thousands of dollars a day for something that just, at the time, really no effort, because I was able to rank at that time. So from there, I started being like, oh man, this is a really, really big industry. So I started going into that.
So the site primarily makes money via bottle sales, right? So people go to the site, they buy bottles of the supplement, and it's not on a recurring model. Why did you choose to go with the just bottle straight up rather than the kind of monthly recurring, which is pretty typical for the space?
It's straight sale versus trial. We went straight sale at the time because I really saw not only A is lower risk, but I really saw no need to go into trials at the time. I didn't even know about it. And yeah, it was just something, why wait to ROI 90 days when I could ROI in 3 days or 2 days?
Gotcha. So you were like, look, I want to cash flow it. I get the cash up front. Have you ever tested a trial or no?
We do. We actually have some landers on it that are trial. So if anybody is interested, they could. Right now, the referral traffic we have goes to our straight sale, but from the other site. But we could also send it to the trial because we have 2 trial landers.
Okay, so you got in the space, for the money, saw an opportunity, wanted to capitalize on it. This site in particular, you started in February 2013, and you started crushing it pretty quickly. Like, why do you think you had so much success with this site as opposed to some other sites you've had?
To be quite honest, it's because I have the exact match. The second we put it live, it had hundreds of people typing in the domain, trying to come to the site to purchase a product. So we were just able to basically start selling immediately, and the conversions were higher than non-exact match. And it just kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess, in that sense.
Sorry to the listeners on this. We're being a little vague because we don't release the URLs up front, and you have to pay a refundable deposit to get the URL. But I can say that it's a one-word .com exact match domain that is fantastic. It's worth at least 5 figures on its own. So, and it's got the business built around it. So what depositors we can share that information with, but it is the really, really good domain name. I think one of the appeals to purchasing this. So let's talk a little bit about why you're selling the site. Why are you selling the site instead of just keeping it or growing it out yourself?
I basically ended up going into a different supplement in the adult space. The cash flow there, I guess, there we did go with a subscription model, and there we didn't have to have a learning curve to try and do it. So we were able to basically grow in the adult space almost vertically day to night. So this became secondhand. Once again, I followed the revenue instead of just following, I guess, the existing model. I mean, this has been on autopilot for me for practically years now, so I really haven't had to do anything anyways for it.
If it's on autopilot, there's very little work on your end. Why are you selling it? Why not just leave it and collect the money?
So this cash flow, even if I was to reinvest this cash flow month over month, by the time I got to the amount of money I sold it, I could take that existing cash flow right now and put it into one of my existing projects and probably ROI significantly quicker. So
that's your issue, is that if I get the cash up front, you're going to be able to get a better return over the 20 months or so it would take you to just kind of take that cash and roll it into another business.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So tell me a little bit about the site and kind of its trajectory. I mean, it started in February 2013. Was it an instant winner? Was it a slow burn? How did it start building up, and how long did it take?
It was instant. It was day to night of success. When I acquired the domain, within, I want to say 72 hours of us being live, we had recuperated all our costs. So
that's insane.
Yeah, and then I also have the other term, which is the referrers, the exactmatch.org. That site, once we started sending that referral traffic over to it, at one point that was ranking number 2 in Google, so that catapulted it. And then once that died off, we had an affiliate hit us up, and he asked if he could push some traffic to it, because he was ranking number 2 in YouTube, and then that catapulted it. It's funny because it hit, and then it mellowed out for a bit, and then suddenly it hit again. And then it mellowed out for a bit, and here we are right now.
Okay. So yeah, it absolutely crushed it. And that was based on kind of like organic. And just to mention, you bought the original domain name, the .com, for $5,000, and then had to pay $10,000 for a much longer .org later on, because it had gotten so popular. So, and that drives some of the referral traffic. But anyway, you did really, really well. We're getting some organic traffic, and then an affiliate came in and started crushing it for you. I see it. If you look at the profit and loss, you can see those months where it's just absolutely crushing it. And then that affiliate bailed out, right? What was the story there?
Basically, he lost rankings in YouTube. Like, he was doing well for a while, and yeah, he ended up losing it. As you know, I mean, with SEO traffic, it's how it's always been, as opposed to media buy traffic where you can just go till your traffic source dries up, or you can just go till if it ever dries up.
Gotcha. So we're actually, if you look at the kind of profit and loss, we're basing this on kind of the mellow or lower period. There have been huge spikes in earnings, both revenue and profit, and that's when something took off, whether it's the affiliate or it got amazing rankings temporarily. So the current price is based on its kind of just hanging around price. But there's a ton of opportunity for this one. I think it could be a massive business if the right person, bought it and took it on. Tell me what you did with the site that didn't work. Like, did you test out anything you were like, oh, that's a loser, I better stop that?
It's actually kind of funny. Background colors had a significant effect on conversion. I learned that from the gaming industry. Things you wouldn't really think affected a lot did. So, I mean, we have some bright colors, and those ended up helping. And when we try to go with more pastel colors, it didn't. One other thing that we really haven't optimized for is mobile, and a large portion of our visitors are mobile, and our mobile lander isn't particularly that good, any of them, but they still end up converting. I just feel that converts significantly faster, more.
If you were to keep the site, that's something you'd focus on, trying to get it mobile friendly?
Oh, for sure. I mean, 100%. It's exactly what I would do. I wouldn't even second guess it. Like I said, that's also coming from experience in the adult sector from our supplement in that industry where, the majority of our sales are mobile.
In talking to you, do you feel like you've learned a lot in the adult sector that you could then go back and apply to this particular site? It sounds like it. It sounds like you're like, this is kind of like a phase 1 and you did well with it, but you've kind of learned some things in phase 2 that if you had the time, you would definitely go back and apply.
Oh, for sure. And I'd be more than willing to, if anyone requires it, gladly help them out and give them my suggestions to how to take the site to the next level. Like I said, for me, it's just a matter of time and issues. I wish I had more time, but I'm already in so many projects that it's kind of difficult.
Let's talk about traffic and earnings. Give me a breakdown on the traffic today. Is it mostly organic, referral, direct, social? How are you getting traffic today?
Mostly type-ins, and yeah, it's pretty much type-ins. I believe the site ranks in Bing. I've never done any SEO whatsoever to the oneword.com, not once. I think there's a total of maybe like 5 or 10 referring links to that domain. The .org, I did do SEO, but that also ranks in Bing for a bunch of things, and that sends the majority of traffic. But for the .com, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I want to say maybe it's anywhere between 30 to 50% is just direct still.
Okay. So, and in terms of earnings and the history on the side of earnings, like the earnings are primarily from product sales. You have no additional earnings, no affiliate stuff on there at all, right?
No, there isn't. It's kind of funny. Another thing that I really should get around to doing is putting sign up to be an affiliate on the site. We don't have that. So in our adult sector, on our sites, we've had multiple people email us, sign up, and start sending us traffic just by us having that on there. But I haven't even gone around to putting that on the site.
Cool. I actually know UltraCart has a baked-in affiliate program already, so you can turn that on.
Management program.
Yeah. We actually don't use UltraCarts, but we use UltraCart, and I've seen that bopping around in the back end. So tell me a little bit about the earnings. I see that back in the day, if we go way back, it was absolutely crushing it. So it's been on a decline based on those crazy mountains, but it seems relatively stable over the last 6 months or so. Where do you see the earnings on this going if you don't touch it at all?
Well, the trends are pretty flat, and I would say the earnings are pretty relatively tied to those in terms of that. There's multiple things I think could be done, adjusting price points, obviously media buys, obviously SEO, obviously adding content to the site. There's so much that could be done to just in general increase it. But assuming I left it just as it was, I would see no reason as to why this wouldn't pretty much sell consistently forever. I really can't think of a reason as to why it wouldn't. If I walk into GNC today, I still see people buying weight loss supplements that were huge years ago. So
what's interesting is you're getting a really small piece of that market too. In terms of the total earnings, this is a drop in the bucket compared to the market size.
Yeah.
Just to mention to everyone too that this is not really a content site. There's no content that necessarily needs to be added to the site. If you want to take the content marketing strategy, you could clearly, but that's not a requirement, not something you're doing today. It seems like, any paid traffic guy that's familiar with paid traffic could step in there and really make a difference. Anyone that's grown or managed affiliates, I think could make a huge difference here. I think those are some great kind of growth strategies that could be applied. Let's talk a little bit. What do you see as the opportunities for the site? Where would you, if you were keeping it and this is your primary thing, or, as a potential buyer, what would you do this to build it out?
Obviously, put money into it. So my strategy for it would be maybe get a mobile or two homepage and landers designed. That'd be step one. Step two, maybe try to acquire some niche relevant high PR links because, like I said, the site ranks in Google as it is with no links. So just because of the weight of the domain, if you were to put any SEO, like even the slightest bit, I'm sure you would do your ROI on that would be ridiculous. Third, the referral site, that has some content, but you could grow that as well. I would definitely mobile friendly everything. I'd optimize for mobile for sure. And I'd definitely go about trying to build the brand around it. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an evergreen product, but I do feel that it'll keep selling forever. And it is cyclical. Some months are always better than others because you have like January, February as opposed to like March, and then you end up getting into summer, and then summer goes really well, and then you have the lull, and then there's different times you could apply certain cash flow to get it to going better. So.
Yeah, I think it has a definite brand. I think that the brand could really be expanded, which you haven't done with the site. It's more of just kind of a straight up drop shipping site, right? Which I actually like. I much prefer that it's drop shipped. You've got all of that handled. You've got a fulfillment company that takes care of shipping and all that inventory management for you. Tell me, what do you think are the risks with this site?
I really have no idea. I've had the site for years and had no problem, so venture to say that there's no problems. I mean, if you end up going into a trial, so assume the person that buys it decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to switch all the referral traffic from the straight sale to the trial. Then you run into a few issues. So you run into a higher percent of chargebacks, and you just need to maintain that, and then you would potentially have to just deal with more mids. The benefit of that, though, is your overall worth per customer goes up significantly. So on average, we're talking almost double the value of a customer when they're trialed due to the evergreen customers you get that keep receiving the product until their credit card expires. So
I think it would hurt your cash flow in the short term too, because right now you're getting the cash up front. The benefit too, though, in doing that, and if it works, right, or even if it just stays relatively similar to where you're at today, the value of the website and the business is higher. Because recurring models, you're just going to get higher multiples for that. So it's a risk. I think it's a bigger risk, but the reward could be massive.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a weird risk, right? So it takes 60 days for you to basically break even, and then 90 days for you to profit. But, once you're on day 90, day 60, all the money's back that you initially spent, assuming you're acquiring customers. If you're not paying for any of your customers, you actually ROI on day 14 to day 30.
Yeah.
So since you don't have a cost per acquisition per customer because they're all organic, the conversion rate on trials is significantly higher than straight sales as well. I would also look into expanding more internationally. I mean, there's still, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and there's the entire Latin American market, which is the largest market in terms of weight loss right now, or not largest, sorry, nothing beats the U.S. in terms of growth potential.
Gotcha. Okay, so, I mean, I also think there's some risk in terms of paid traffic, and we talked about this before the show, that you're going to have to spend some money to figure out which market it works best for. So, and then even when it works best and you've got an ROI, you're going to want to improve your margins, and so you're going to want to continue testing so that you can get your margins higher so that you can make more money on the deal. But I think the paid traffic strategy, is just a must. I mean, someone has to do that here because of the potential is so high, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to convert higher with this, any other site in the niche, because you have the keyword. It's like the keyword.com. So just that in general gives a higher click-through rate.
Your ads are cheaper. Rate. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, the reason you're not doing that right now, just to be clear, because, I can hear the listeners going well, why the hell isn't he doing it? The reason is because you're spending the money in the adult space and getting a better ROI, right? You're crushing it there. So any of your media buys or ad spends, you're going toward that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been flipping everything into that. And I see no real necessity or need to put more money into this right now, given that I'm just able to grow. I mean, we haven't even hit the cap of the vertical of the one micro niche we're targeting there. And I mean, the potential there is just insane for what we've been doing.
So, John, tell me, what kind of work required, on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, a new buyer taking this on, what are they going to have to do?
Update contact information.
So not much.
Yeah, I have to apply for mid. Banks, you apply for straight sale, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, you could use Stripe. I think Stripe would work, or PayPal. Any of those would probably be fine to start off with. I mean, that would be the only thing, just getting a merchant process or merchant ID.
Yeah. If someone wanted to buy this site and just absolutely crush it, what kind of skill sets could they have that would put them in a great position to do that?
Definitely media buying, then SEO. There's still an exceedingly amount of potential. And then also being familiar with split testing. A few things that it's like a multi-process in this aspect. So trying either trial price points, straight sale price points, seeing what you can acquire. It might behoove you to lower the price of the product or increase the price of the product. It really depends, depending on your traffic, seeing where you can buy. And then also, I mean, it comes with a list of customers that purchase. So you could obviously remarket to that existing list.
How big is that list right now?
Good question. I want to say well into maybe 2,000 or 3,000 emails that doesn't include abandoned leads. That's just people that actually pulled out their credit card and purchased.
Gotcha. And you got those abandoned leads as well. You have their emails. Do you know how many that is?
A lot more.
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't have the numbers in front of me. If you want, I can try to pull them up right now.
No, we'll just look it up for any depositors, and we'll share that information with them. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the work required. We've talked about kind of the skills I think that would be helpful. Definitely, I mean, if you're into the paid traffic space, you know at least a little bit conversion rate optimization. You have to be kind of good at that if you're doing paid traffic.
Yeah. As you increase the paid traffic for it, because it is the one word, I mean, the best example I can give is if you Google cars, cars.com shows up for it. So the similar would occur with this because, I mean, Google and Bing just have to assume that it's your brand that people are searching for.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. All right, let's talk about some additional information. We talked about this before the show, but you obviously would not do a non-compete in the supplement space because you're currently in the supplement space with other things. But you would be willing to sign a non-compete specifically for these terms or this smaller niche. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. As I said, I am in the adult space doing supplements there, so I don't think I could ever actually justify, in my mind, trying to even compete against this because why waste the money trying to come back into this niche with a far worse domain that I know is just going to convert worse? Like, it wouldn't make sense to me.
Gotcha. And then how much support are you willing to offer buyers? I could see, some touchy areas where they want to talk to you about some of the traffic stuff that you've done so they can avoid, wasting money. I'm sure that they may have some questions about UltraCart. How much are you offering to a new buyer?
Whatever's necessary, whatever they feel comfortable with. I have nothing to hide. If anything, because I launched it, it's my baby. I was talking with Mike earlier and when we were on some calls. To me, it's one of those things where if something becomes huge and I can say, I was once part of that, it's a sense of pride for me. So anybody that acquires this, I would be more than willing to make sure that they have every tool necessary to succeed and to absolutely crush it.
Awesome, John. Now, I know that you're, preferably for you'd rather have a 100% cash upfront offer. But for sites like this, we often get, earnouts or splits that are offered from buyers. So would you be open to something like this, 70% up front and 30% after training, or 60% up front, 40% over X number of months based on hitting certain goals? Are you open to a split or earnout?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I would definitely like a significant deposit on it, though, because as I said, that'll help me ROI quicker in my adult niche. So if anything, that would also allow me to learn more in the niches that I'm learning, and I would be more than willing to share that with whoever buys it.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's do a quick wrap up. Again, the niche is dropshipping e-commerce site in the health and supplement niche. It was built in February 2013. The monetization is health supplement sales, bottle sales, basically. Net profit on this one is $4,636.40 per month, and it gets about 2,000 page views per month. If you could, John, give us your best pitch in 30 seconds or so on why someone should purchase this site.
The upside potential is astronomical. I mean, you purchased the site for, it could potentially be made. I mean, the asking price for the site, I've made almost way over that number per month with this site.
Awesome. So the upsides are huge and they're buying at kind of the lull or just kind of the standard, day-to-day, month-to-month revenue and profits. All right. For anyone, listening to this, if you're on YouTube or elsewhere, there's going to be a link in the show notes that will take you over to the listing page and you can check out more information about it. If you're on the listing page right now and you want detailed information on this so you can do your due diligence, look on the right-hand side. You'll see where you can pay a refundable deposit to get all the information, including access to analytics and all of the details on the site so you can make a good buying decision. John, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin. Always a pleasure.